Some royal scandals weren't exposed by tabloids or insiders. They were caught by paparazzi cameras. Relentless photographers followed princes, princesses, and kings into private moments and revealed affairs the palace desperately tried to hide. A future queen photographed with a forbidden lover, a married prince exposed in secret with someone else, and a royal couple's affair captured in images that shocked the world. These weren't whispers, they were pictures that destroyed reputations. So which royals were caught through the lens? Here are 12 shocking cases where illicit royal affairs were exposed by relentless photographers. At number 12, we have Princess Madeleine of Sweden. In 2010, Sweden's tabloids and glossy magazines were consumed by Maddie's heartbreak, a scandal that saw Princess Madeleine call off her high-profile engagement due to a cheating fiancé exposed in the presses. Madeleine, King Carl XVI Gustav's youngest daughter, was engaged to attorney Jonas Bergstrom when rumors emerged of his infidelity. The situation exploded after a 21-year-old Norwegian handball player, Tora Upström, sold her story to a magazine, admitting that she had intimate relationships with Bergstrom during an Eastern ski trip. She even provided details. A rendezvous began in a nightclub in a resort and ended at Jonas's hotel without her initially knowing he was the princess's boyfriend. The revelation hit Sweden media like a bombshell, and according to News in English, after weeks of feverish speculation about the couple's status, the royal palace announced in April 2010 that Princess Madeleine had broken off the engagement by mutual decision. That very same day, paparazzi spotted a distraught Madeleine boarding a flight to New York, effectively going into self-imposed exile to escape the scandal's glare. The fallout was significant, and the princess stayed abroad for years, during which she slowly rebuilt her life. At home, the public sympathy lay with Madeleine, but the royal family had suffered a blow to its fairy tale image. At number 11, we have Princess Stephanie of Monaco. The young daughter of Prince Rainier III earned a wild child reputation through a series of tabloid feud scandals in the 1990s. Most notorious was the 1995 affair that played out in paparazzi photos across European tabloids. Stephanie's husband, Daniel Ducarret, a former palace bodyguard, was caught on camera in a poolside tryst with a Belgian model. Italian magazines published 40 pages of explicit photos showing Ducarret cavorting with the woman. The images caused an apocalypse Monaco, as one headline screamed, mortifying the Grimaldi family. Within weeks, a humiliated Stephanie announced she would divorce Ducarret, and according to Desert, the wayward husband fled into hiding from the paparazzi's onslaught that followed as the principality's 700-year-old dynasty endured global gossip page ridicule. The scandal, arguably one of the most infamous royal paparazzi exposés of the era, had tangible consequences. The princess herself became a single mother of two overnight and saw her fairy tale marriage implode. Earlier, Stephanie had already defied convention by having two children with Ducarret out of wedlock before their marriage. Titulating the tabloids later in 1998, she had a third child by another bodyguard, further fueling and feeding tabloid narratives of a rebel princess. Each episode eroded Stephanie's royal standing. Once a glamorous teenage icon, she increasingly withdrew from official duties, living her life on her own terms, but largely outside of palace circles. Next, we have Inaki Urdungaran of Duke of Palma. Inaki, a former Olympic handball player and husband of Infanta Cristina of Spain, has been embroiled in multiple scandals over the years. In 2022, a new tabloid scandal surfaced when the magazine Lecturas published photos showing Urdungaran walking hand in hand with Enoa Mentia, a colleague at a law firm where he worked. The images were taken along a beach of Bidart in the French Basque region. According to the HuffPost, the photographs directly captured a posture of intimacy, hand-holding, walking side by side, and sparked media frenzy about an alleged extramarital relationship. His wife, Infanta Cristina, was said not to be entirely surprised. Multiple sources claimed she had been aware of tensions or rumors prior to the images' publication. 5 days after the images became public, the couple released a joint statement announcing their decision to separate. This message emphasized that while their marriage relationship would end, their commitment to their children would remain intact. From a royal reputation perspective, the hand-holding photos were extremely damaging. Though these images were not explicit as some scandals of the past, the optics of intimacy outside the marriage line was powerful. Media framed it as a classic royal betrayal, especially given Christina's prior acquittal in related charges and her image of restraint in contrast to her husband's controversies. But they weren't the only ones whose affairs collapsed royal marriages. The next three scandals involved a princess caught by paparazzi while having an extramarital affair, then a king's secret affair in the 1990s, and a prince's involvement with a singer. At number 9, we have Princess Anne of the UK. In the early 1980s, Queen Elizabeth II's only daughter, Princess Anne, was married to Captain Mark Phillips, an Olympic equestrian. Their union, however, was already strained by distance, personal differences, and Mark's own alleged indiscretions. In 1989, one of the most shocking scandals of the Windsor dynasty broke when it was revealed that Anne was engaged in a clandestine relationship with Commander Timothy Lawrence, an equerry to the Queen. The affair first came to light not through rumor her alone, but through the exposure of intimate personal letters written by Lawrence to Anne. These letters, described by The Sun as highly personal, were stolen from within the palace and leaked to the press. The Sun initially announced that it had the material, but due to legal restrictions, details were not published in full. Instead, other tabloids began digging, and paparazzi photographers soon picked up the trail themselves. Images began to circulate of Anne and Lawrence in closer proximity than royal protocol allowed, especially during her equestrian events and official duties where Lawrence was conveniently present. The relationship and revelation of the letters and the increasing photographic evidence confirmed what had previously been whispered. Princess Anne was conducting an extramarital affair, and at the time, she was still married to Philip, making the relationship a breach of royal protocol decorum and marital vows. Next, we've got King Carl XVI Gustaf of Sweden. November 2010, Swedish media attention centered on the unauthorized biography Den Motvillige Monarken, in English, which means the reluctant monarch, written by investigative journalists, which asserts that King Carl XVI Gustaf had a clandestine year-long affair in the 1990s with Camilla Hennemark, a Swedish pop singer, model, and actress. The book claimed the affair was known to Queen Sylvia and that the king did not deny the allegations when confronted. According to Telegraph, the biography alleged that the affair lasted about 1 year and was detailed in chapters of intimate encounters. The book's author apparently had access to insider testimonials and claimed that the royal household attempted to suppress further disclosure. The Independent went on to report that the book also described the king's participation in wild parties, visits to underground clubs, and his frequent socializing with women of various backgrounds. It specifically named Hennemark as one participant with whom the king had an affair. Some accounts suggested that she was the object of intense attention from the monarch's inner circle during that period. Swedish tabloids later reported that Royal Security Service may have been involved in concealing embarrassing materials, and the press staff who had been warned to avoid publishing explicit evidence, though those are allegations rather than confirmed. Number 7, we have Emanuele Filiberto of Savoy. On the 5th and 6th of July 2023, Italian entertainment and news sites began amplifying a set of paparazzi images, originally created for Diva Donna, showing Prince Emanuele Filiberto of Savoy in Los Angeles embracing Nadia, a Como-born singer-songwriter who had lived in LA for years and had previously drawn Italian attention as a one-time partner of actor Mel Gibson. The coverage pointed out that, in the public eye, he was still married to the French actress Clotilde, which intensified the framing of the images as an extramarital scandal. Several outlets reiterated the same core facts. Location: Los Angeles. The two were photographed exchanging a passionate moment, and the images were taken in street-style, long-lens fashion typical of paparazzi work. But the blurbs, not only were they identified as a musician, but also leaned on the ex of Mel Gibson tag to explain why Italian celebrity media recognized her. Subsequent reporting in 2025 clarified that Emanuele Filiberto and Clotilde had been separated since 2021, though that information wasn't public until late 2023 when the paparazzi kissed up appearing to the public. From the timeline standpoint, that disclosure complicates the black and white nature and labeling of these images as quote-unquote extramarital. However, in real time, July 2023, the public understanding was that he was still married, and his own immediate reaction proved why the images were read as potentially adulterous. And the next 3 here: a prince accused of a secret set of liaisons with a flight attendant, and a princess had a heartbreak, and a princess who believed a bodyguard. Next, we have Prince Albert II of Monaco. Monaco's sovereign prince enduring multiple tabloid bombshells in the 2000s that forced public reckonings. Shortly after Albert assumed the throne in 2005, a French magazine, Paris Match, ran an explosive story alleging he had fathered an illegitimate son with Nicole Coste, a former flight attendant. The article featured photos of Albert with a toddler and detailed Coste's claims, a revelation of quote-unquote political significance, as a court later noted. Under this pressure, Albert issued a statement publicly acknowledging paternity of the boy, Alexander, thereby confirming the tabloid scoop. According to The Guardian, the next year, in 2006, he also admitted having an older daughter, Jasmine, from a prior relationship. These public confirmations, unprecedented for a reigning prince, were directly precipitated by media exposures. These scandals dented Albert's standing, painting him as a playboy prince reluctant of acknowledging his own offspring. In 2011, it would go on the eve of his wedding to Princess Charlene, rumors swirled in the French press of yet another love child, allegedly prompting Charlene's brief runaway bride attempt. While Albert survived these episodes and went on to produce legitimate heirs, the impact lingered. International headlines about paternity suits cast a shadow over the early years of his reign. Monaco's image-conscious palace had to scramble with damage control and lawsuits against outlets that pried in Albert's private life. At number 5, we have King Charles III of the United Kingdom. His long-running affair with Camilla Parker Bowles was exposed in the early 1990s and directly led to the end of his first marriage. According to Time magazine, Charles and Camilla had been involved as early as the 1970s, but their liaisons became more publicly aware when transcripts of an intimate 1989 phone call were published in 1993. That scandal, dubbed Camillagate, confirmed Diana's long-held suspicions that Charles had been unfaithful. British tabloids slashed on the story, and the monarchy's image suffered. One conservative estimate says that the king's popularity plummeted at the time, and this sort of brutal reporting by paparazzi adversely impacted his married life. Princess Diana separated from Charles in 1992, and their divorce was finalized in 1996. Camilla, who was married to Andrew Parker Bowles at the time, divorced him in 1995, and she and Charles later wed in 2005. In the public eye, the affair soured Charles's reputation in the 90s, prompting Prince Philip and court aides to damage control statements. The marriage was already under strain, though the affair was a major factor. Ultimately, Charles's affair ended his first marriage. Today, Charles reigns as king and Camilla as queen consort. After years of marriage, the affair is remembered as one of the royal family's most notorious scandals. Next, we have Juan Carlos I of Spain, who reigned as the King of Spain from 1975 until his abdication in 2014. Long cultivated an image as the monarch who guided Spain from dictatorship to democracy. Noteworthy. But behind his respected personal persona, he carried a string of extramarital relationships that over time were dragged into the spotlight, sometimes literally through the lens of the paparazzi. One of the earliest and most enduring scandals involved Spanish actress and showgirl Barbara Rey. Their affair whispered about in the 1990s, but it wasn't until much later that photogenic evidence was emerging. In 2024, the Dutch magazine Privy published never-before-seen photographs from 1994 showing Juan Carlos and Rey caressing and embracing in a manner that left no doubt about the intimacy of their relationship. Spanish outlets like the Olive Press confirmed the authenticity of the images, describing them as incriminating photos that finally ended decades of speculation. These pictures demonstrated not just an indiscretion, but a relationship carefully hidden at the time through hush money payments and alleged use of intelligence surveillance to suppress leaks. Beyond Rey, Juan Carlos's liaison with businesswoman Corina Larsen also became global talking points. The images of the king with Larsen, while Spain struggled through economic austerity, provoked outrage, understandably so. The combination of paparazzi evidence and investigative reporting gradually dismantled Juan Carlos's carefully constructed reputation. Yet, the biggest shocks were still to come. A prince humiliated by explicit photos, a duchess destroyed by tabloid lenses, and a king exposed by DNA. At number 3, we've got Sarah Ferguson, Duchess of York. In the summer of 1992, the British monarchy was rocked by one of its most humiliating tabloid scandals. Ferguson, the Duchess of York and wife of Prince Andrew, had already been living apart from her husband when she embarked on a romantic relationship with Texas financier John Bryant. While the Windsors were hoping their marriage separation would go quietly, everything collapsed when paparazzi, tipped off to her whereabouts, trailed Sarah to the French Riviera. During a holiday in St. Tropez, long-lens photographers captured intimate photographs of Sarah and Bryant lounging by a private pool. The most infamous image shows Bryant caressing her toes while she reclined on a sun lounger, smiling at the attention. Tabloids flashed the images under sensational headlines, with the Daily Mirror and Daily Mail running full photo spreads. The pictures left no doubt about the extramarital nature of their relationship. Since Sarah remained legally married to Prince Andrew at the time, the fallout was immediate and brutal. The Queen's advisors declared the photographs a national embarrassment, and within weeks, Buckingham Palace announced that Sarah would no longer be performing official duties. Her public funding was withdrawn, and she was stripped of her Royal Highness style following her eventual divorce in 1996. Next, we've got King Albert II of Belgium, a decades-old secret exposed by the press leading to serious repercussions for Belgium's former king. For years, rumors swirled in tabloids and societal pages that Albert had fathered a child out of wedlock in the 1960s with Baroness Sybil de Says-Longchamps. Photographs taken by the paparazzi were circulating in the media for quite a long time. However, the story remained unconfirmed until after Albert's abdication in 2013, when his alleged daughter, artist Delphine Boyle, launched a paternity suit, a saga avidly covered Belgian media. Under increasing public pressure at the time, Albert finally submitted to a DNA test in 2019, and according to The Guardian, in January 2020, facing a court order and mounting evidence, the 85-year-old admitted that he is Delphine's biological father. This stunning admission, quote, following the results of a court-ordered DNA test, as his lawyer noted, confirmed what tabloids had chased for years. The fallout was significant. Delphine's long dismissed as a mere claimant was legally recognized as Princess Delphine of Belgium, entitling her to use the royal surname. For Albert, it was a humbling moment that undoubtedly hastened his earlier abdication in mysterious circumstances in 2013. The entire incident put a lot of strain on his married life. The scandal tarnished Albert's golden years reputation and strained the royal family's standing. And at number 1, we have Prince Ernst August of Hanover. He's been long a figure of royal intrigue. Their marriage, solemnly in 1999, has endured periods of separation, estrangement, and repeated media speculation. According to People magazine, though the two never formally divorced, the relationship became subject to persistent rumors rumors of infidelity, especially following the controversial photo spread in the international press in the early 2010s. The most prominent public scandal emerged in January 2010 when Paris Match published a multi-page feature titled Amorous Escapade in Thailand. Ernst de Gus walking on the beach, lounging in the sand, and caressing a woman who was not his wife. German magazine Bund calling the cover of Monaco's First Lady is being publicly duped. The photos appeared while Caroline was in Switzerland with the children on a skiing trip, magnifying the impression that Ernst de Gus was engaging in a romantic liaison during a holiday out of view of his family. The tabloids framed the imagery as evidence of infidelity and betrayal, fueling speculation that Caroline might be seeking a divorce already. Over time, the couple's separation grew more visible. By 2009, sources reported they were seen together only a few times that year and had been living apart. Caroline relocated to Monaco with their daughter, leaving the French residence behind. With this, we end today's video. We'll be back with a new video shortly. Until then, happy watching and do subscribe to our channel if you still haven't.